Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Talks. Today, we are lucky enough to have Paul Truelove, our Chief Product Officer, back on. And today, he's going to talk to us about the concept and really the reality of autonomous identity. So, Paul, thanks for coming back.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
I really want to hear from you on what this autonomous identity, buzzword that's really not a buzzword for us. So can you just tell us a little bit about like what it does for our customers today and how it's being kind of brought to life with our customers?
Yeah, so autonomous identity is really part of our larger predictive identity vision and strategy. And it's all about automating these life cycle management processes and general identity governance processes that we've all been talking about for years. And I tend to look at what we've accomplished over the course of the last decade as semi automating a lot of the hard things that used to be done as either completely manual or when I arrived at SailPoint, a lot of the state of the art identity processes were what I like to call Excel over email. And so autonomous identity really captures the intelligence that we have in the system, puts it through a machine learning and AI lens, and tries to automate as much of the process as it can and only kick out the things that it needs manual intervention on where it's either high risk or there's not enough data to actually automate the process in a confident way. So it's a little bit like a self-driving car. It gets you, from point A to point B without you having to drive as much as it can, but it's always, there's always that steering wheel and brake there if you need it.
Oh, that's great. So they get to stay in the driver's seat, but they also get the benefits of not having to manage all that on these teams that really need those freed up resources. That sounds great. And so I guess really the next thing I want to hear is kind of the exciting part, which is we have some new updates to our SaaS platform. And a lot of these are really directly affecting the way our world works now. So can you talk about what's happening in this latest release?
Yeah, so one of the great things that we've been able to apply this autonomous identity approach to is role management. Roles have been, I think for a lot of people, kind of the bane of existence in their identity program. It's one of those big bang efforts that a lot of people go through. They spend months or quarters or sometimes years defining the perfect role model and trying to implement it in a system like SailPoint. But the business is so dynamic now. The employee base is dynamic. The broader identity base outside of employees is incredibly dynamic, and all of the access that they need is dynamic. And so what's happening is it's very difficult to keep models up to date. And so we've taken role management and we've applied machine learning and developed algorithms that not only help you discover roles, but mine your environment on a continuous basis so that you're constantly suggesting changes to the roles to the people that own those role profiles. So, a good example is you've created a role, it's maybe been in production for some number of months, but all of a sudden the access profile for the users that have that role has begun to change. New applications have been onboarded and people have been granted entitlements that don't exist in the role definition. And so the system's now smart enough to go out and identify that and prompt the role owner to insert new access into that role to make it more applicable for the current team that has it, and also make it more applicable for new people coming into that role.
So, some exciting stuff happening at SailPoint. Innovation always at the top of mind. If you want to read more about these updates, you can head to sailpoint.com/blog, where Paul has written a blog sharing more about all of these great updates. And until next time, this has been Identity Talks.